Ruthlessness is mercy upon. Oh, hey. So, ruthlessness. Probably everyone has been taught that being ruthless is a bad thing. After all, ruthless villains never win. Or do they? Epic the Musical is, well, a musical by Jorge Rivera Herranz that depicts the events of the Odyssey with its own original twists and turns. And one of the themes it explores is ruthlessness. And what makes this portrayal of ruthlessness unique is that it is not portrayed in a bad light. On the contrary, the lesson that Odysseus needs to learn to get back home is to be ruthless. But is being ruthless always mercy upon ourselves, or is it a bit more complex? Let's find out. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. This video was supposed to be a comparison between Epic's Poseidon and Heaven officials blessing White No-Face and the lessons they teach Odysseus and Shelly-Ann, because I think the song Ruthlessness fits White No-Face and Shelly-Ann perfectly. However, I ended up yapping about Epic for way too long, so this video became just Epic. In the future, I will post a comparison as its own thing, so look forward to that. And one more thing before we start, the animatic you saw at the beginning and the thumbnail is done by Anaflama, and it is specifically this animatic that got me into Epic. I love it. When I saw the thumbnail, I thought that it was going to be some philosophical video, which it kinda is. And once I realized it's a musical, I was gonna turn it off because I wasn't in the mood. And then I saw it. Poseidon was drawn as a horse. For those who don't know, Poseidon is also the god of horses. And I love horses, and that's how I went down the epic rabbit hole. Okay, enough tangents. Without further ado, to the video. So, we meet Odysseus at the end of the Trojan War. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. I will talk about Epic and not the Odyssey itself. So the events and character motivations are solely Epic. Anyways, when we see Odysseus, despite the catchy song, he is being cunning and ruthless. He actually does reflect on this later in the song Monster. He tricks the Trojans and slaughters them in their sleep. He even tells one of the men, Neo, avenge your father, kill the brothers of Hector. So he is perfectly fine with the idea of vengeance and killing, right from the start. They have been fighting a war for 10 years after all. The first real dilemma that Odie faces is the infant, Astyanax, the son of the Trojan prince Hector. Slight tangent, I can't believe how smart yet stupid Odysseus is. Zeus literally tells him a mission to kill someone's son, a foe who won't run, unlike anyone you have faced before. And he doesn't realize that Zeus is talking about a child. Actually, now that I think about it, him being smart, yet stupid, is a running theme in the musical. Huh. Anyways, he is given a choice: kill the infant, or let him live and lose your own family and life. And even though this is a tough choice for Odysseus, when you step back and look at it, the choice is actually pretty cut and dry. There isn't a question whether Astyanax will seek revenge or not. Zeus himself tells Odysseus that he will. If you don't end him now, you'll have no one left to save. You can say goodbye to Penelope. Odie tries to find a way out, but Zeus just says nope. Try what you like, Astyanax will still have his revenge. In one of the lines, Odie says, I'll make sure his past is never known, and Zeus answers with, the gods will make it known. Zeus is being quite the jackass here, since he basically says, if all else fails, then we'll tell him. Sucks to suck, I guess. This isn't important, just wanted to point it out. So, the choice doesn't boil down to be ruthless or show mercy. Odie's choice is between show mercy to Astyanax or show mercy to himself and his family. If Astyanax seeking revenge wasn't certain, then it would be a completely different moral dilemma. But now, it is simple. There are only two options. Pick one. It's literally the trolley problem. But instead of sending the train to a few random people, you send it to your own house. No, scratch that. More like send it to your own kingdom, where innocents will die. In this instance, Either Odysseus shows ruthlessness to the infant and mercy to his own family, or mercy to the infant and ruthlessness to his own family and other innocent bystanders that will get caught in the crossfire. This decision has a great impact on Odie. Already, in Full Speed Ahead, we can see that he doesn't want to do any more harm. Eurylochus wants to raid the place, but Odie disagrees, and Polites only furthers his beliefs of no more violence, and greeting the world with open arms. On a side note, I find it very funny that when the Vinians try giving them the lotus, Odie acts all like, "See? They mean us harm. Buddy, they offered you free drugs. Just because you don't want it doesn't mean they weren't extremely hospitable." And then we get to these Cyclops. Oh boy, these Cyclops. Odie is a complete idiot here. A smart idiot, but an idiot nonetheless. First of all, who in their right mind finds a herd of farm animals and goes, "Oh boy, wild sheep. That definitely don't belong to anyone. Let's eat them." If you think about it, this one decision kicks off all the terrible things that happen to Odie and his crew. The moral of the musical should be, do not kill random animals. Anyways, then we see Odie being smart for a bit when he gives the Cyclops the lotus vine and doesn't reveal his true name. A little late to use your big brain, Odie, but still points to you, I guess. And then Polites is turned into a pancake. And Odie doxes himself. I will talk more about it later when we get to Ruthlessness, but for now, let's move on. Polites' death makes Odysseus cling to the "I still believe in goodness" idea even more. He could have become a monster right there and then, but he didn't. Instead of thinking Polites died, so his ideals must be false, Odie's thinking is more along the lines of he's dead, so I have to be the one to keep his ideals alive. In My Goodbye, there's a line I really like. What's a title that a goddess could lend if I'll never sleep at night? Titles and how others perceive you doesn't have any meaning if you yourself feel horrible. It's how you feel after your actions that matter. Moving on, I find it so ironic that after singing a whole song about how Odie's luck will run out one day, Eurylochus is the one to open the windbag. Like, sir, are you so desperate to be right that you took actions into your own hands? And then we get to Ruthlessness, the song that started my epic journey and this video. I adore the song, but is everything that Poseidon says in it the truth? I think that the song presents itself in a way that you are drawn to agree with it. In that sense, it is similar to Where is the Justice from the Death Note musical. Yes, Death Note has a musical, go check it out. It makes you agree with it on an emotional level, but when you examine it logically, cracks start to show. But I will talk about it at the end of the video when we have gotten through all of Epic and seen how this philosophy truly affects people. For now, let's see if Poseidon's actions were justified. Before anyone comments, yes, Poseidon is a god and they do tend to be a bit one-dimensional and always believe that they are right, but today we are treating him as a human. Got it? Okay. So, first of all, I do not believe that Poseidon truly cared about Polyphemus. Polyphemus, yeah, that much. The way he says, I mean, you totally could have avoided all this had you just killed my son. But no! The tone in which he says no is just not right. And let's be real, if someone blinded your child, you wouldn't go, oh yeah, you should have killed him. That would have been better. Poseidon might have cared about Polyphemus a bit, but he cares about toying with a mortal more. And Poseidon blames Odie for not being ruthless, but is ruthlessness really the problem here? We actually had a discussion about this in class when we were reading the Odyssey, and our teacher asked us, was Odysseus in the wrong for not killing the Cyclops? And the whole class unanimously answered, no, we agree with Odie letting him live, but he is an idiot for doxing himself. And I still agree with this statement. Let's examine it logically. We are led to believe that if the Cyclops was dead, then Poseidon couldn't find out who killed him, and Odie would have sailed home peacefully. If that's true, then if the Cyclops lived but didn't know Odie's name and address, the outcome would have been the same. Another point is that, unlike with Oceanax, this time Odie didn't know the outcome of his decision. Oceanax no longer had anyone to avenge his death. Yes, his mother was alive, but she couldn't do anything. The Cyclops situation, however, was different. Let's be real. Would you be more angry if your child was blind or if your child was dead? And in which case would you believe more that the culprit really didn't mean no harm? So, in the end, the real culprit isn't a lack of ruthlessness, it's plain old hubris, the real nemesis of heroes everywhere. One more interesting thing is when Poseidon tells Odie to apologize, and Odie does, but that doesn't change anything. It can definitely be the case of Poseidon just being, "Ha! You really thought I would forgive you?" But let's look what Odie said in his apology. "We only hurt him to disarm him. We took no pleasure in his pain. We only wanted to escape." Boy, oh boy, did Odysseus lie with this one. "We took no pleasure in his pain?" Yeah, right. After he turned your BFF into a pancake, you're telling me you took no pleasure in his pain? Odie, no one is buying this. And also, while the whole Remember Them speech begins with Odie trying to honor his fallen comrades, it quickly shifts. It goes from remember them to remember us to remember me. And that's when logic goes out the window and hubris takes control. And he even says that he is not a man after singing an entire song about how he is just a man. One more thing that I forgot to mention is that while they are fighting the Cyclops, the crew sings, "And when we kill him, then our journey is over." They do not, in fact, kill the Cyclops, and they never do get home, apart from Odysseus, of course. I thought it was a neat little detail. Moving on, Circe! I think that this saga really shows the balance between ruthlessness and mercy. At the start, Circe is ruthless, turning Odie's men into pigs without any hesitation, and Odie counters that ruthlessness. At first, he asks nicely, but when that fails, he immediately shifts gears and goes on the offense. Circe, seeing that she is going to lose, uses different tactics, but Odie knows how to say no to this, unlike some people, and then he stops being ruthless. He could have just threatened Circe again, but he didn't. And this decision worked in his favor, because at that moment, Circe also chose not to be ruthless. Maybe showing one act of kindness leads to kinder souls down the road. Ruthlessness might bring immediate results, but what happens later? What will you do when people start showing at your door seeking revenge? What will you do when there is no one left willing to help you? If Odysseus had gone to Circe with the whole open arms mentality from the beginning, then he probably would have been turned into a pig, and that would be the last of it. However, he went in ready to counter Circe's ruthlessness, but still offered open arms when the time was right. And Circe mirrored that action, leading to the best outcome. Whether you choose ruthlessness or mercy, there will be consequences. You cannot just stick to one and always expect the best outcome. Next, the underworld. I have nothing much to say here. Yeah, I know that it is Odie's breaking point, but everything is pretty much self-explanatory here. Oh, one thing, in No Longer You, Tiresias says, "I see you draw your final breath," which I assumed meant Odie's actual death, showing that Tiresias sees Odie's entire future life. But apparently it meant Odysseus' metaphorical death and rebirth as a monster, which I don't really like. Since at the very end it is left ambiguous whether Odie really is another person or still the same, and this line pretty much just says, "Oh yeah, the old Odie is gone." But I'm getting ahead of myself. The Thunder Saga! Now here I have a few things to say. First of all, suffering bamboozled me. I listened only to the audio and was so confused. At first, I was like, is this a flashback? Wait, Odie was afraid of water? Damn, this must be rough for him. Wait, daughter? Is this a parallel universe or something? And after that, I was like, nope, something else has to be happening here. And then I remembered that there are sirens in the Odyssey. Anyways, that is not the song I wanted to talk about. The song I wanted to talk about is Different Beast. So, Odie has officially entered his monster era. And I agree that not letting the sirens live was probably the most logical decision in that particular situation, but how it was done is pushing it too far. Instead of just killing them, Odie has their tails cut off and drowns them. And let me tell you something, drowning is not fun. I know, because I recently had to write a term paper on drowning. That term paper is one of the reasons why this video is so late. While drowning, the CO2 levels in your blood don't reach high enough levels, so you don't pass out for a really long time. It is considered torture and is not a suitable euthanasia method for animals. So Odie chose to torture them. He was ruthless just to be ruthless. And remember the little thing I said about consequences? Well, Odie can thank his lucky stars that Apollo is such a chill guy in Epic. He could have easily argued more with Athena. All he did was reimburse them. I think he did a little bit more than that, Athena. And then we have Scylla and Mutiny. The Sirens already told Odie that the only way to get home was through Scylla. So, yet again, we only have two options. Either all of them die at sea, or 6 of them are chosen as sacrifices so the rest can get home. Another seemingly impossible decision, but when you step back and look at it logically, there is clearly one option with less bloodshed. The real problem is Odie not telling his men about the plan, and a point could be made that if 6 men were chosen randomly, then Odie should also be a part of that selection. But let's be real, the crew wouldn't survive a day without him. And also, Odysseus is, their king. Imagine the crew getting home and having to explain that they fed their king to a monster. Another thing I find interesting is that Odie was hesitant to sacrifice 6 of his men. At least I believe so, because he only tells Eurylochus to light up 6 torches after he finds the truth about the windbag. I think that up until that point, he was still hesitant, but after that, well. And let me tell you, Eurylochus is such a damn hypocrite. He was the one to open the windbag, and he was the one who wanted to leave the crew back at Circe's. But now, when Odie's doing everything to get them back home, he's like, you sacrificed our friends! Oh, so the guys that were turned into pigs, that you were willing to leave, weren't your friends. Is that it? And remember me saying that the crew wouldn't survive a day without Odie? Well, they didn't. The moment Eurylochus took control, they went to the first, let me repeat that, the first island they found, and killed more farm animals. I mean, shooting the Cyclops sheep was the thing that got you into this mess in the first place. And now you find random cows and do the same? At least Odie learned from his past mistakes and begged them not to do it. But no! The moment Eurylochus took control, he also took Odie's stupidity with him. I'm telling you, the real message of Epic is to not kill random animals you find, especially if they are farm animals. And are we forgetting that Odie is king again? If they actually got back to Ithaca, then what? Odie could easily throw them in jail or worse for their mutiny, because he isn't just their captain, he is their king. And then Thunderbringer happens. I can't even blame Odie at this point. He might have made mistakes, but he always tried his best to bring everyone home. If they can't follow a basic rule, do not open the bag, then it's their fault. And again, What would they do if they went back without their king? I don't think Antinous would have been a good ruler. Wait, what even was the point of this video? Oh, right, ruthlessness. If ruthlessness was the answer to everything, then Odie would have never gotten off Calypso's island. First of all, Athena had to change her perspective on things and help him. And then Zeus had to show mercy to Athena and agree to let him go. I'm not going to cover the entirety of God Games, but I'm gonna say this about Aphrodite. Her arguments seem valid, and she actually argued with Athena, but like, Aphrodite, darling, are we forgetting that you caused the Trojan War in the first place? Yeah, I know that Eris, the goddess of discord, created the golden apple, and Paris decided to give it to Aphrodite. But it was Aphrodite who decided to give Paris a married woman! What's next? Oh, right. Get into water, and 600 strikes. You might make an argument that, see, Odie only gets past Poseidon by being ruthless. However, the point that I made with Circe still stands here. Odie offers peace at the beginning, but unlike Circe, Poseidon doesn't take it and chooses to be ruthless. And Odie counters that ruthlessness with his own. With Circe, both parties were happy at the end, but here, the stronger one was victorious. It's easy to spout ideas about ruthlessness when you are strong and believe that no one can beat you. But the moment you are at the receiving end, suddenly, it doesn't sound so good. Fun fact, when I first listened to 600 Strikes and Poseidon said, "After everything you've done, how will you sleep at night?" I immediately said, "With his wife, of course. What kind of stupid question is this?" And then Odie actually said, "Next to my wife," and I screamed. Okay, next, the suitors. Let's be real, can you blame Odie for this? While it was Antinous who planned everything, none of the other suitors tried to stop him. On the contrary, they were eager to go along with it. And I have a hunch that the suitor who said let's have open arms instead was lying through his teeth. This might not be true, but it's definitely a possibility. The suitors had 20 years to win over Penelope, and none of them tried to actually be nice to her and Telemachus. And when Telemachus tried to save them, they immediately went, "Ooh, a hostage!" So, disposing of them seems like the good choice. The ruthless choice is the correct one. Or is it? Like I said, every action has consequences, and this is no exception. I said that I wouldn't go into the Odyssey, but these events would take place after Epic ends, so they might be canon. The Odyssey doesn't end with Odie reuniting with Penelope. The fathers of the suitors are, to put it lightly, very angry that Odie killed their sons, and they want revenge. The only reason why Odie survives this and a war doesn't break out is because Athena intervenes and makes a covenant of peace between them. So, at the very end, the cycle of bloodshed is broken with a peaceful discussion and not another bloodbath. Ruthlessness can be mercy upon ourselves, but not always. There are always consequences. Being ruthless, just to be ruthless, almost always leads to that ruthlessness being directed back at you. Just look at Poseidon. It wasn't so fun for him to be at the receiving end of that philosophy. And Odie's journey didn't magically become better once he metaphorically became a monster. In the end, someone had to show mercy for him to get home. But enough from me. What do you think? Is ruthlessness mercy upon ourselves? And do you agree with Odie's actions? Also, look forward to my next video where I compare White No-Face and Poseidon. I'll go even deeper into the themes of ruthlessness and other ideologies. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It would be amazing if this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. See you next time. Bye!